Welcome in you guys watching this to our 26th film in the series Pattern of the Month. And if you think I look a bit older, I am a bit older than the last little film, 1 month older. But also we had a housewarming party here just a couple of days ago with our ambassadors and key people from many places around. And the new facilities are almost done. And I was thinking maybe in our next little film, when we are all set, I can do a little tour and show you how it looks here on our fly tying and our company rooms and warehouse and everything. I was going to show you this. I got a few. Who's this ugly bastard? I got this fantastic drawing, and those of you who asked me about this, it's Mr. R.L. Blomfeld who did that, and I got another one from him. I don't know if you see when it's in plastic, but it's spawning trout. Fantastic. I think it will end up here. Anyway, why did I get all these presents? Well, you can see this was also not only a housewarming, it was my 60th birthday party. So here we go, getting older. Let's see, I don't need to set this here so I don't ruin my present. Okay, so we're gonna tie something different than last time. Last time it was all spay flies, quite simple tying, but very effective fishing flies. Today we're gonna do the only fly that of mine, I think anyway, that had an own article in the New York Times. That was pretty strange, but I had this journalist contact me from the New York Times about the Moonshine fly. So we're gonna tie this. Quite complicated tying, and it's very important that you actually set things in the right order. Besides that, it's not so complicated, but bit of rubber eggs adds some tricky tying when you use the half turbo cone, the classic style. So this is what we're gonna tie, and we start right now. This fly I'm gonna tie on medium. I'm gonna pick a gold one, and when I cut my tubing, I do it about half the length of the finished fly. So the fly will be twice the size at least, so I get the hook inside the construction. I've said it so many times, but the salmon will take the fly from the side, and having the, where did the fly go? Having the hook quite in the center of the whole construction gives us a better hooking actually. So I'm going to tie that on an X small black one, because I'm going to use the gold cone, and I make sure I cut an angle and I get the extra small inside the medium. I'm going to tie with a 12-0 today too, like I always do. I'm going to use the black one. And I start by putting a little bit of thread over this cut part. And I said it so many times now, but the good thing with our fitz tubing is that it's flexible. Meaning that if I don't use glue here, I'm going to keep it flexible. I'm going to get a lot stronger fly. So that's why I do this. Okay. Bit messy here. I'm gonna start with the mirage. Got a small piece here, and I work my thread back, and like I do most of the time, I'm not gonna work the thread under the mirage, I'll go back with the mirage and turn it, go in front, pull it hard and tie it in. I like the mirage instead of the regular tinsel in the back. It picks up the colors from the fly and gives a really nice appearance, I think. And as a tail, again, we're going to use craft's fur, and I'm going to use an orange one, highly fluorescent. And is it important with the fluorescent part of the fly? I think it is, actually. On a lot of my flies, I keep a fluorescent part. I think the fish likes to have something that sticks out a bit. I spread it down on the sides and work the thread back so I cover the point where I tied it in, and I put my scissors from underneath and I taper by pulling and cutting. I get a length so it covers behind the hook, and I can leave this part and tie it in while I work my thread to the front. Okay, and of course we're gonna do our braid, and I work mostly with our hollow braids. I like the holographic shine to it. And again, I'm gonna do two different, one for the body and one for the ribbing. And I always tie in. Here I'm gonna do the gold one. I tie that in first, and I have a little thing I do all the time with materials that I tie them in underneath. First of all, when you come to the head or the wing, there's going to be a lot of stuff tied in on the top, but also to look at the fly, even if you can work the braid so you don't see where you tie it in, or almost don't see, it's neater to have it tied in underneath. So, and I start with the magma yellow. That's going to be my back half. And I tie it in and I pull hard. The good thing with our braid is that it's super strong. And I go a little bit further than half, because then I can cover up that part with my dubbing. Cut it off, not too close, you don't need to. Then I take dubbing, and I'm going to use glitz again. And we have those little dispenser boxes. Gonna go with the magma yellow. And this is called hot magma yellow because there are fluorescent strands in there. And I just dub this on. The longer the fiber is, the more easy it is to dub it on. So I put on a little bit at the time, and I tie it in, cover up the thread, and work this crosswise to the front. And press your fingers hard together when you dub. It's easier to have the fibers contact the tying thread and to tie it in. Make sure it grows a bit. So if you look at what I'm tying, in all my tying, I want the fly to taper. I want it to be the narrowest part in the back, and then it's growing. So what I do here, I put a little more dubbing on here. Saving about 4 mil, it's enough. For the wing, because I want to have as much as the fly as possible onto the medium, not on the extra small. The extra small is a lot softer, or not weaker maybe, but it's softer, so you get a more stable fly if you tie in on the medium. Okay, and then we're gonna do a body hackle, and pick the feather here already, and I tie it in underneath again, and here it's more important because here I will have the wing and all this material. How many materials is it? It's going to be like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different materials or something. And I always start with one turn here, so I get fibers in the front, and then I work this backwards. And since I use part of the tube, first we have the color tube, and then we have the mirage that's not going to have a hackle. I normally do only 4 turns, not 5 as on the classic flies. And then I take this and I spin it. And this is one of the super good things with our braid. It's strong, but it's soft enough to spin down, so you can use the same material on everything from the tiniest little fly, here we go, to this that's going to be quite a big fly. And you can see I pull hard before I tie it in underneath again. And as long as I keep my tension on the thread, 1 turn is enough. But to secure it, I need to put a few turns on. Take this and I double it back and tie it in again close to the body here. This way it can't slip. And I take this away. This should be tapered more, then I can do it afterwards, but I think it will be okay. Okay, I call it the meanest dubbing brush on the market, and I think I'm right. Our brush is not Velcro, it's stronger, harder, and I torture this a bit to get all the fibers out. Not all, but fibers out to blend together with my hackles. This way I get a lot of shine and a very translucent fly. Okay, so now what I'm going to tie in, I'm going to tie in only 1 hackle actually. It's easier with 2, but I'm going to do it with 1. And I'm going to tie in rubber legs, and I'm going to have, what is it, 3 different wings together with some flash and some pearls and some jungle cock. So it's important I do things right here now to get a good fly that will swim right. And I will start with some flash in the bottom. And on these I use our Angel Hair HD Magma Yellow. Get a few strands. Remember to take half of what you think you need, because it's going to double. Tie them in, double back, spread them down, and secure them. And again, instead of cutting, I take my scissor and I taper and cut. Here we get another one. So I get different length on these. And if I have 1 or 2 that's too long, I can just do it afterwards. Looking at this, it looks like it's maybe a little even here. And I can take my scissor and taper a little more. Better. Okay, so main wing here is going to be 2 different colors. And the yellow fly has been so popular last decade or so, or 15 years. And I like the brown fly. So here what I do on the Moonshine is that I mix the 2. I have like a not dirty but not super bright. It's like It's like a dirty sunburst color. Use a soft hair. Use the brush it through to untangle the fibers. Get some of this loose fibers away. Wide, move the fingers up and taper. Meaning I pull some of these strands to get a nice taper on this wing before I tie it in. But 1 centimeter or between 1/2 and 1 centimeter, and I tie it in. Not too long now. As long as the tail, or maybe just a little bit longer. Down on the sides and tie it in. Secure it with quite a few turns. Make sure it's put flat so it's wide. The fish will see it from down here, right? Kind of stupid that we look from the side and we judge the fly from the side. Very few fish will come up and have a look here. Take that away. A little bit of angel hair, which is our thinnest flash. I use Alta Gold. It's a dark gold color with a bit of copper to it actually. And I put it in wide, 1 turn, double back, spread it out and secure. And do the same again, taper. Good? Okay, and then the brown, we call it Batacorva brown. It's this fiery brown, orange tinted, it's going to say super color, but it's a really nice color. Can be a bit tricky to dye, but it's nice. I take a little bit less. And I do the same. I work with my fingers, tapering this before I tie it in. Make sure it's spread and it's covering up the yellow, and that's longer, maybe a little longer. Move my fingers and tie it in. Here I very often take this and I lift it like this and pull, because that way I will make the brown stay on the medium and not the thread coming down. So cut this off. Make sure, always complain about you guys having the best light here, but need to take this away so it's fairly clean. Like that. It's a little twisted. It's better for you to see it that way. To make sure I have the right tapering, I can just take my fingers and follow the wing and see. So I actually have few strands here that will swim in a nice way. Okay, so now we're here and we can do this in a different ways. I can actually put on the jungle cocks now, but I can also save them for later on. It all depends on what cone we're gonna put on and how much thread we can cover up with the cone. For a small or a medium half turbo, I would do the jungle cocks now. Let's do a jungle cock now. Okay, we start with that. And I'm gonna work with the natural feathers, and I show it every time. Do it in a legal way. Use your CITES certificate. Okay, let's see what we have here. I need to have a new feather here. I use quite small feathers, and people have been saying, and I think they're right, that looking at flies and like a little bit of my style is the smaller jungle cock. And I form them always on my thumbnail to have them follow the wing. I tie them in so they're almost as long as the plastic tube, meaning they will be seen behind all the hackles and everything I'm going to tie in afterwards. And I'm actually doing this in a way that you're not used to because the wing is not ready. But I will put in the jungle cocks, and I put them fairly low because I'm going to put on some hair a little bit on top, and I don't want the hair to cover up too much of the jungle cock. Always start with the one on my side and then go on with the next feather looking. Normally I twist the fly, but here I can look so it's even, looking good. I think cut this off, pull it out a little bit, it's easier to cut it. Then I take a little bit of glue here and I will change this from the weakest part to be the strongest part of the fly. And I've said it so many times, but to get a little glue up in the soft wing here, you ruin everything. So I use support. Normally I use my finger here to support, or I can use two hands, put one thumb out and have support. So I use both hands in a way, or 2 points to be stable so I don't mess this up. Putting on a little bit of glue here, just securing this part of the wing. Okay, so now we're gonna do the rubber legs. And rubber legs can be a pain to tie with, but I'm actually not that accurate when it comes to these, because they are soft and they will move in the water, and they will move in a way that I think attracts the fish. To be honest with you, on my salmon flies, there's only a few patterns that have it all the time. When it comes to sea trout, I like them even more. They create vibrations, and vibrations is sound for the fish. Put them on the side, tie in both at the same time. Just a few turns. Make sure they're about even. And then I take these, I divide these, and I pull them down and I double them back. It's easier to cut them off, but I do it like this. Hold it and secure it. It's an easy way to tie in. Oh, see this one. This is how they work. They disappear. Easy way to work the rubber legs. Pull it a little bit, make sure I get them about where I want them. I want these ones to be shorter than the upper ones, so I cut this off. And if this is bent like this and that like that, it doesn't matter. The current will take this, it will move, it will create vibrations, which is sound. Okay, so now we're gonna add a little blue to this fly. And I'm gonna use the pheasant rump feathers. I have the pack right here, I'll show you. In our packs we have both colors that are bleached and dyed, and we have natural and dyed. Each pack comes with 100 feathers, and here you can see I have the not bleached and the bleached dyed with the same color, but very different appearance. And for those of you buying our packs, our material packs, I have one right here, we supply a little bit of both, so you can choose what you want. I'm gonna do one of the feathers that's not bleached on this one, and it depends on how bright you want the fly. It's a fairly colorful fly, and I think maybe some bright blue will do it, make it even too bright maybe. But what I do is I create this little triangle here where I pull back the fibers, cut off, and tie this in underneath. Not too many turns. This is going to be doubled, meaning all fibers one side of the center of the feather. And what I do is I just pull it down, fold back, and tie in. It's an easy way. You can prepare the feathers before, but I used to say during demonstrations that if you need to prepare them before and you try to do this professionally, I would probably have starved to death because it takes too long time. Just take this, fold back, and tie in, and I go down now, work my way down, so I'm down with the hackle onto the extra small. Just on the edge, not much, but right down on the extra small, and I tie it in. You can, if you use a turbo, you can do the hackle first and the rubber legs afterwards, but I think that it doesn't matter actually. This is a lot easier to tie it this way. Now I do on this fly something I do on very few flies. I put the short wing over the long wing, and this will do two things for me. Try to find a very soft part of this. I don't want it to be too stiff because it will stand straight up. Doesn't really matter when I fish it, but I want this to look good for you guys too. Take this and I work it through my brush, make sure this is what I want, and I want very, very few fibers here. Just to add, I said two things. I want this to add a bit of color, but also help building up the drop form. So I'll divide the hackles a little bit, just pull them down so I don't get all the hackles under this. Take a little bunch here, make sure it's about half the length of the fly. A little too big, I think. Take away some of them, tie it in and spread it out, and this is what's going to divide the wing into being the classic shape where the wing divides the hackle. Few orange fiber, put a little bit of moist on my fingers, and then I just cut this off. And again, what you can do is you can twist your fingers a little bit, and that means you gather the fibers, makes it a bit easier to cut. Since I'm doing half turbo, I'm cutting fairly close. Okay, so now we have the jungle cocks. What we can do, we can put some angel hair here too, but I can also just take the dyed peacock And if I want this to be even brighter, I can take the one that's bleached, and you can see how much color this adds. Or I can take the one that's natural and dyed with only a little tint of yellow to it, and tie that in. I'm going to use this time. You can understand that if you use the blue and bleached, here we go, rump feather together with the yellow, maybe I should do it. It'll be the Ukraine colors. We're all thinking about Ukraine and the poor people there now, but this is going to be a bit more discreet, so I do it with the ones that are not bleached, and I form this between my fingers, 3 to 5. Broken one I don't like, meaning I take this back, and I just form them so I can tie them in all at the same time. Maybe. Here we go. Just make sure they don't cross over. Spread them. It's like a little roof over the wing. And look at the length. As long as the longest fibers, or just a few mil longer. Hold it down, take thumb and forefinger, press it down and tie in all at the same time. Pull, and few turns now. Make sure they're spread. These are not perfect. I want one to go a little bit down, more down on your side. So I can pull these to have them form this little roof over the wing. One that's sliding down a little bit to my side here. I have to pick that up, and I can pull it up a little bit. And just make sure the thread is strong, and I take my scissors and I cut these really close. One more. It's maybe easier for you guys and for me too to cut them one at the same time. Or one at a time, and not all at the same time. Take this down, make sure they're spread before I take a little bit of glue and put on. Now it's time for the cone, and since I wanted to make this with the medium one, or the extra small one, I've been extremely careful. Now I use support again, and I take a little bit of glue just on top here. Since I don't have any hackles here, I don't need to put it away and move the glue together with the thread. So I take this, make sure this is now strong, cut it off, take the cone and pull it down really tight. And we are getting there. Take the fly out of the vise. Make sure that on top here that I don't have any thread seen there. If there is a little bit, I need to press it down so the cone will cover up the thread to make a strong fly. Cut it, and again I use support. Put the scissors on my finger before I cut, 2 to 3 mil. And look, I found the lighter in the right colors. There's only both orange, yellow and blue on this. Finally. Hold it up and just melt it down. Nice and slow. A little bit at a time. Holding it up like this, making a good hole for my leader. I take the fly. Looks good for me. And I look underneath and make sure that if there are 1 or 2 angular that is too long, I will take them away so they don't tangle with my hook. Moonshine fly. And ready? And I think it turned out good. And you can see how the rubber legs, how soft they are, and how they will stand out, and the current will press them and they will move in the current, and they will make sound or vibrations, especially in the dark, or a pattern like this that is really good when there's some humus. It's good to add a little bit of extra vibrations and sound to the fly, I think. Moonshine. New York Times fly. Strange, but turned out good, I think. I hope you liked the tying, and I hope that you picked up a few small tricks here. And what you can see in my tying is that I can change the order in tying in different materials, just adjusting to the cone or to what I want to do. Oh, sorry. Coffee isn't even cold. If you have the right mug, the one that also help us support our poor stocks of wild fish. Okay, ready. And I hope you liked it. Hope you liked the tying. I have one thing I was going to show you here. I can show you this first. You've seen the pack, and we have a fly pack here somewhere too. If you want to, we have been changing a few things on our web, so subscribing's been closed for some time, but you can buy the pack, and those of you subscribing will get it anyway. And maybe even today it's possible to subscribe. You can buy the packs with all the materials, or you can buy the ready flies. I was going to show you this because those of you who've been following know that we've been doing a series of reels, the sailor reels, coming in the fancy box with the leather box. And we did a Sailor 2, a 3 and a 4 to start with, and now we are introducing the Sailor 1, which is our smallest reel. Same braking system. It's for maybe a dry fly single hander down to a 6-7 weight. We also did a new backing for this reel. It's 30 pounds, 100 meters, 5 colors, again changing color every 20 meters, so you don't have to think about how much backing you are out. You just have to look at the color, starting at green, ending up with fluorescent pink when there's a bit of panic to it. I think they turn out really, really nice, and as I told you, they have the same powerful braking system as our bigger reels. And most of our reels, they've been sold out. I thought they were going to be with us for a couple of years, but they sold out in a few months. But those of you, since they are limited edition, those of you that have your series of reels in one number will have first refusal also on this Sailor 1. That should have been here, but it will be here very shortly. So just drop us a mail and let us know if you want your number, or if you are interested to buy one of the few reels we will have left. Okay, too much sales talk. Hope you like the tying. We're still spring. This is a good spring fly, but it's also a very good sunshine fly when you have a little bit of tint to the water, a little bit of humus. I fish it quite seldom, almost never bigger than this, but quite seldom this big. I fished them down to 4 or 5 centimeters. It's an excellent fly. And it's probably better if you want some moonshine to use the flies than to drink it. Okay, as I always say, thank you for watching. And next month we're gonna do a little tour and show you our facilities, and also tie something completely different. So thank you, and stay strong and tie on.